leader, a live look tonight at our Grand Forks Tower Camp. John Wheeler's tracking mist and fog and how it may slow your morning commute.
A lawsuit is settled tonight over accessibility issues at the Shack. What NDSU has to do to become compliant.
It's kind of a shock. I just can't believe it. I don't want to believe it.
This is Kevin Wildman. Coming up, the father of Wes Gunhammer, whose body was found just north of Main Avenue on Monday night, talks about a kind-hearted soul.
Good evening, everyone. As our temperatures go down tonight, the number of car crashes or fender benders are going up.
There were a handful of crashes in the metro tonight. This video is from 25th Street and 32nd Avenue South. A mist or drizzle today coated windshields, sidewalks, and streets throughout the day. And now, as you can see, things are iced over. Police knew this was coming and sent out a warning earlier today telling people to slow down and allow extra time for your commute. How bad will it be in the morning? Storm Tracker meteorologist John Wheeler leads off our newscast tonight with a first look.
Well, an interesting thing, visibilities throughout the region, including right here in Fargo, have improved a bit as the wind is picking up. There's a bit of a breeze, so the fog is dispersing, but we're still getting some areas of that light freezing mist and freezing drizzle. Wind speeds are not ever going to be high tonight. There'll be enough wind, I think, to keep the fog quite limited. But the freezing drizzle, the freezing mist has already coated roads. Temperatures are actually slightly rising tonight. Not much, but 1 or 2 degrees warmer by morning. That won't be enough to change things up. Things about this freezing drizzle. Your Storm Tracker app won't show it because it doesn't show up on radar. Droplets are too small, but it can cause that invisible black ice or clear ice on roads. So for your morning commute, there may be a lot of ice that you won't be able to see. It should melt away during the day tomorrow, but the morning commute looks rough. I'll be back with a forecast.
NDSU's premier sports facility is looking at some unexpected construction projects in the coming months.
The U.S. Attorney's Office reached a settlement with the school over violations of the Americans with Disability Act at the Shack. WDAY News reporter Robin Hubner tells us about the fixes that have to be made.
The announcement came from U.S. Attorney Drew Wrigley and 2 assistant attorneys. They began investigating complaints about accessibility at the Shack in 2017, just months after it opened. They say it's a heads up for other building project managers.
Am I complying with the ADA as I either build this new facility or as I remodel? Because the ADA applies to both modifications you make to existing buildings and to new buildings.
It's not a hostile takeover of their facilities, but it is an insistence upon compliance with this important civil rights legislation.
Under the settlement, ASU will have to construct more wheelchair spaces in a more integrated way, sightlines. In addition, at least one companion seat must be provided shoulder to shoulder, an issue raised more recently by Tammy Desautels. Last spring, Shack staff denied her request for a chair to sit next to her disabled daughter during a game.
I was upset. I was like, are you kidding me? I said, it's a little late for that. I said, we're going to be leaving soon. No thanks. You should have done the right thing right away.
Other changes include more accessible parking and adjustments to ramps and concession stands. Wrigley says the remedies will likely be more expensive now than if they'd been done initially. Facilities Management Director Mike Ellingson did not have a cost estimate.
Our goal is in the next few months we will try to come up with a plan and then also make a determination what happened, what transpired, and what do we do to make sure that this doesn't happen again.
Assistant U.S. Attorney Melissa Birkland says people in wheelchairs should not have to compromise and says any one of us or our loved ones could have to deal with a disability someday.
And I don't say that to be bleak or dark, but I just think that we need to be thinking about ways that we can make our community and our facilities accessible to absolutely everybody.
Robin Hubner, WDAY News.
The repairs aren't expected to interfere with any events at the Shack. Under the settlement, the work has to be finished by the end of this year.
Moorhead teachers and the school board are 2 votes away from a new deal. After 7 hours of negotiations with a mediator, both sides reached a tentative 2-year agreement today. This is the first time in more than a decade a mediator was needed. It calls for increases in salaries, health benefits, and improvements to early childhood and adult basic education. The total cost of the package increase is 7.5%. The deal still needs to be approved by the teachers union and the school board.
Well, I thought we were pretty close from the get-go. There was some give and take today, but that's the negotiation process, and when you talk about negotiating in good faith.
The teachers union declined to comment about the tentative agreement. Both sides are expected to vote on it sometime next month. Family was preparing to celebrate Wesley Gunhammer Jr.'s 31st birthday at Fargo later this week. Instead, they're planning his funeral.
The medical examiner is conducting an autopsy on Gunhammer after his body was found in a parking lot on Main Avenue Monday afternoon. Gunhammer's family tonight wants people to know what kind of person is now lost. More tonight from WDAY News reporter Kevin Wallivant.
Still kind of in shock. I just can't believe it. I don't want to believe it.
In a North Fargo home today, the father of Wesley Gunhammer talked of raising his only son alone, along with Wesley's two sisters. He recalls a good son, part of a tight family.
He, even as a child, he was really a kind-hearted person. He treated everybody with kindness. I mean, I've been getting calls from his friends, and that's what his friends are saying too.
Gunhammer's father, also known as Wesley, says his son would always go out of his way to help others rather than himself.
I'm tremendously proud of him, the person that he was, because everybody he came in contact with, he liked him, fell in love with him.
Now, Wes tells us he had invited his son over for dinner on Sunday night. He never showed. And now this father assumes that his son had tried walking from South Fargo to the North Fargo home, where he collapsed just north of Main Avenue.
But he was drinking, and he started walking, and it was cold out, so I'm thinking he either passed out or fell.
A friend of Wesley's told us, our community has lost a good friend.
If he had money, he'd try to give some of the people downtown that were walking around homeless money, and he's a very caring person.
Someone, family says, who found the good in everyone. Kevin Wallivant, WDY News.
Gunhammer's family hopes to have a funeral service for Wesley next week once his remains are returned.
The Grand Forks community